Fuck! Fuck! Fuck!
Oh, you stupid motherfucker!
You're gonna find me dead! I'm gonna kill myself!
Hit the fucking guy! What the fuck is he doing?
I'm gonna be hanging from the bathroom!
They got their leg!
Don't ask me to do nothing! This is nothing!
Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Steel Here podcast, where I'm your host, Kevin Adams, alongside my partner in crime, Jersey Jerry. Jerry Don, Sunday was arguably one of the worst losses I've ever seen in the last 20 years for the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially a game at home all week leading up to it. You said it on this very show. It feels like it might end up being a Mike Tomlin game. And the boys go out there and they do exactly that. It looks just like a Mike Tomlin special. Where the hell do we go from here, Jerry Don?
I don't really know where they go. They're going to start Mitch against the Patriots. Kenny Pickett injury, 2 to 4 weeks. Hasn't been able to stay healthy. Defense looked bad. Coaching was bad. Special teams. Mason Cole was god-awful.
Yeah.
TJ Watt didn't have his best stuff. Cam Hayward got no push. Tackling was poor. Joey Porter Jr. didn't have a great game. Important penalties. Got mossed for a touchdown, I believe. Season is, I'll be honest, I don't even care what happens the rest of the year. I don't care if they lose. This season has been so frustrating because it's a year where the Steelers have been waiting for a year like this, where every team in the AFC is really beatable. It's pretty much wide open for the most part.
Yep.
And on a year like this is when you have to take advantage of stuff. You have to take advantage of other teams having injuries, other teams, not as good as they were years prior, teams falling off a little bit. And now the Steelers just lost to the 2-10 Cardinals, which was the worst loss in Mike Tomlin's career. Should be, at least. A game that you should have no problem getting up for, because if you looked at it the way we would look at it, was like, hey, dude, this is a great opportunity for you to win this fucking game.
Yep.
And fucking have a real fucking shot at this thing. Don't take this team lightly. Beat them up for 4 quarters. Be physical. They didn't do any of that. The season is done. I think they'll probably make the playoffs, but like, what do you want to do? You're going to make the playoffs and you're going to score 6 points and you're going to get stomped, and next year will be the same thing. The merry-go-round, all again, the Ferris wheel, same exact thing, same cycle they're in. Nothing changes if nothing changes. I'm not saying Mike Tomlin is a horrendous coach, is a bad coach. He's proven that he's not.
He's average coach, Jerry.
I
don't know
head
coach right now.
I don't know if he is the right coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
He's an average head coach right now. If every single time we have one of these types of games, if countless people across the sports landscape can say things like, could be a Tomlin game incoming, and then it ends up being a Tomlin game incoming, that's a legitimate problem. Like, that's a real thing you have to start paying attention to, is that these things are becoming both A, predictable, and B, a lot more regular than they should be. In the last couple of years, we've had several of these types of games. Our ugly losses are becoming really, really ugly, man. Look at the losses last year, and then you go into this year. Week 1, very ugly loss, unwatchable football against the Niners. Week 3, unwatchable football against the Texans. Against the Cardinals, unwatchable football. But for me, the reasons that I say it's becoming a problem, and that Mike Tomlin, while I don't think he is a bad coach, his message has gone stale. It has gone very stale in Pittsburgh, and the results are just simply not there anymore. No. Jerry, did you hear the comments after the game, some of the players, and even today, some of the things that the players had ended up going on to say?
Yeah, I think Deontay said something like the team wasn't prepared at all, or they didn't really care.
Yep, he
or
said we overlooked them. He said we overlooked them. Deontay Johnson says we overlooked them. Jalen Warren says we overlooked them. You know, we didn't take them as seriously as we should have. Deontay says we didn't take them as serious as we should have all week. Dan Moore Jr. says we're not a mentally tough enough football team. And you have in Tomlin's interview, you have some of the actual beat writers and such questioning him, some of the media asking Coach Tomlin, hey, did you hear Deontay Johnson's comments? Did you hear Dan Moore's comments? And he puts them all to bed like, oh, they were probably just answering the way your questions were phrased. He refuses to simply admit that maybe it's a problem in the way that he's approaching these games that's leading the team down a path of too much confidence and not X's and O's during the week that's going to put them in the right places to actually win games.
Yeah.
Jerry, did you happen to read Joe Scobert's? I think I sent this to you. Joe Scobert's comments. You remember Joe Scobert? He played middle linebacker for us for a couple of years.
I don't remember though what you sent.
I'm gonna read you guys this because it's the most telling of anything that I've heard that will help me explain to you what Mike Tomlin is. These are his exact comments. The coaching staff was there for such a long time, and they had so many veteran players on that team, way more than anywhere else I'd been. It made for good continuity, but it was also less structured because of it. With all of those veteran players were expected to be professionals on and off the field, and the coaches didn't take all their time checking in on them every day. They were expected to do everything the right way without all the governance by the coaches. It could get lax at times, but you were expected to do the work. It wasn't like other places that were more structured, where they'd expect you to be in there at certain times, certain places in the weight room or for film room at certain times of the day. You were expected to be professionals who could figure that out on your own. Jerry Don, when it is week 13, week 12, and you have the Steelers had over the last 3 games 7 snaps where they didn't have 11 men on the field. Twice where they had 12 men on the field, and twice on Sunday alone, you had illegal formations simply because guys didn't line up either on the line of scrimmage or were uncovered off of the line of scrimmage, just not lining up in the right places.
Yeah.
In week 12, Jerry, that shit is unacceptable. It's X's and O's, and it's coaching. That's what that comes back to, man. So if you pair that type of stuff, those penalties, the not being prepared, and did you hear Freiermuth saying it's terrible at this point that we're having these penalties at this point in the season.
Yeah.
You have all of those things adding up, and then you hear Joe Scobert's answers to those questions. I mean, it's pretty telling. Maybe they do need a little more governance in the locker room. Maybe you do have to hold these guys' hands. Maybe you do need to be questioning whether or not they know what they shouldn't be doing. Like this shit is years and years of the same types of failures. And if you've changed your GM and you've changed offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, new roster, and yet the product is exactly the same when you're losing, what the fuck is the one single same thing throughout the entire part of that? It's Mike Tomlin. Yeah. I mean, it's guys, we sit on here and we've bitched about this for 2 seasons now when these games come up because it's becoming more prevalent, these types of losses, Jerry. If they don't move on from him or they don't completely overchange the way that they do the process of the week in and week out, you're going to continue to see these same types of losses. So could he go somewhere else and win, Jerry? Wouldn't bother me at all. Wouldn't bother me at all.
No, I really wouldn't care either at this point. I'll be honest. It's just like we're stuck in this winning record by 1 game. Like we're stuck in that cycle where it's just bullshit. I'd rather just get funner players in the draft, better players in the draft at this point, which you can't do that really now because they're going to go on to win 9-10 games. So it's, I don't know, man. The season in my eyes is they'll end up making the playoffs. Who knows? They'll be a 5, 6, or 7 seed.
Yep. They'll
get steamrolled the first round. And it'll be the same cycle again. And the cycle might even get worse next year. The cycle might be, oh, Kenny Pickett. He's not the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback. He's not that good. Okay, now we have another couple years backtracking a quarterback now. So who knows, man? Who fucking knows? I mean, I hate to say it, I really do. The injuries are concerning, dude, with Kenny. The injuries are very, very concerning. He's getting hurt a lot. He takes a lot of hits.
20% of the games he starts, he doesn't finish, Jerry. 20%, that's a fucking big number, man.
Yeah, dude. He gets hit a lot, whether it's sacks or, running and whatnot, but he takes too many hits. Now it's at the point where you could say he's injury prone. Who knows? Some guys, the doctor recommends like, hey, I don't think you should play anymore if it's another concussion or whatnot. Who knows? If Kenny comes back or whatever and he gets hurt again, let's say it's a concussion, I really hope not. The doctor might just be like, dude, this is like your fourth concussion. You're done. Like we recommend you don't play football anymore.
Right.
Then what do? You have to draft a quarterback now. It's like, I don't know what type of thing the Steelers are going to do. I know this year they're not going to win a playoff game. I really doubt it. Injuries are concerning. Defense played horrible. I feel like they'll have a bounce back game against Patriots, but
well, they should. That offense is dog shit too, man. This game Thursday night might be 6-0.
Yeah, I know. It's a game that honestly, for the first time in my career, being a Steelers fan, my life, I could say like I would be able to go without watching this game.
No, see, I couldn't, and now Jerry's not coming to town. He won't be here Thursday.
No, that once we lost that game, I was like, fuck that. I had the sideline tickets lined up to watch the full game on the sideline. Fuck that. Not even worth my time, dude.
I mean, I will still be there because I just simply can't quit the fucking thing. And you guys come to the terrible tailgate. We got Levon Kirkland as the guest this week, so by all means.
No, don't go. You don't need to go, guys. You're wasting your time. Don't go. Season's cooked.
But here's the thing. You started the show off with saying it's the easiest the AFC has been. And it is. You see Trevor Lawrence get hurt now last night. You know, there's no Joe Burrow. You don't have Deshaun Watson. You know, you're really looking at maybe Patrick Mahomes, Tua Tagovailoa, and Lamar Jackson. That's pretty much the AFC now. You know, that's one of those three more than likely should make it to the Super Bowl, just given that it's that soft. But, you know, while I believe the season is over simply because Kenny's going to be out at best, Jerry, they say 2 to 4 weeks. It's never this type of tightrope surgery is what they call it. You don't ever come back under usually 26 days, which is 4 games. Okay. Yeah. So at that point, we're looking at him maybe for the Seahawks or more than likely the Ravens game. So Kenny's done for the rest of the year. And that sucks because I'm not saying, again, we know at this point, I've made it clear, I'm not the biggest Kenny Pickett believer. However, I still wanted to see him keep getting opportunities because it at least gives us direction. It at least lets us know.
I would have loved, listen, if we lost this game and Kenny was still the quarterback and we had the schedule like we do ahead of us, at least we could say to ourselves, well, at least we'll see Kenny Pickett probably play a playoff game. While I do think they're going to make the playoffs, there also is a chance where they come out, they drop this game to the Patriots. Then you're like, oh no, this team isn't going to make the playoffs.
Colts aren't playing bad football. I mean, again, we could lose to anybody. You know, last week we were excited again, but we could absolutely lose this game as well. And there's no guarantee that then we're going to go out and beat the Colts. There's no guarantee we're going to beat the Bengals. You see what Browning did last night, Jerry.
Oh, I know.
It's when I watch these other teams play football and it's backup quarterbacks and they just march up and down, touchdowns, 40-yard pass plays, and you have backup quarterbacks that we've never even heard of that are able to do this shit. And then you watch the Steelers try and produce on offense. It's the most maddening thing. And it's what, again, circles me back to the Steelers don't fundamentally change their approach to football, which their approach still is run first, defense first, passing game is an afterthought. Let's keep it low scoring and muck it up. If they don't change that to an offensive minded ideology first, we're going to continue to have seasons like this where it's just grueling, where we're going to win 8, 9, 10 games, but are we ever going to take a true step forward? No. Are we ever going to take a true step backwards and suck? No, but we're going to be right in the middle of this fucking mediocrity. This is purgatory. We're trapped in football purgatory. And it's just like, it's the most depressing it's been as a Steelers fan. Is just this continued like vicious cycle that we're trapped in, as far as we're never going to be good enough to win it all. We're never going to be bad enough to get good draft picks. We're just going to be stuck right the fuck here where it's good enough for ownership and the Roonies and Mike Tomlin's defenders will say, oh, he's never had a losing record. But what the fuck does that mean, Jerry? Never had a losing record. You know who's on a hot seat right now? Bill Belichick, Jerry. Bill Belichick's seat is boiling. And you know what's pretty fucking wild? The crazy thing is Bill Belichick has won 2 Super Bowls and lost another since the last time we've even won a playoff game. and they're
That's
still
crazy.
talking about him getting the fucking boot in New England.
Yeah. I don't know why. Like, I mean, I'm starting to see it more now. These last like 2 years from different outlets and whatnot. But at the bare minimum, Mike Tomlin's seat should be at least warming up, man. It really should.
It shouldn't even be
It
warm.
really
It should be fucking hot. Jerry,
Yeah.
in what world has his production warranted this leeway that we've given him? The guy's won 1 Super Bowl, and it was fucking 15 years ago. I mean, what the hell are we talking about? They talk about this guy like we're constantly in AFC title games. The national perspective on Mike Tomlin is that this guy must get us to fucking 12-5 and 1 or 2 seed every year.
Yeah.
The reality is we don't win playoff games. We're always clawing. This time of the year, we're always clawing, scoreboard watching. We choke on games we shouldn't be choking on. We're praying that a team loses to help us jump them in the playoff standings. Like, this guy is not whatever people are making him out to be.
No, he's definitely not. I mean, when he started, I said to myself, this guy's going to bring in multiple Super Bowls. He was such a good coach. I just think the league has just passed him.
It changed.
I really do.
It changed.
The league changed, and it's not defense anymore. It's all offense. I'm interested now is I still don't know if Rooney made that decision or Tomlin made that decision for Canada. If it was Rooney that made that decision for Canada, I think I don't know this, but I could see somewhere down the line Rooney maybe stepping in and calling it quits. Or when is this guy going to retire? He could have millions of dollars waiting for him, somewhere else.
So I guess that's ultimately for me why it's so frustrating is because, we have 1 more year left on his deal after this one. All the talk is the Steelers are still, they're going to bring him back. His seat isn't even in question right now. Okay, if that's the case, when the fuck is it in question then? Like, what has to happen before the ownership and, the front office and everybody says, okay, we need to make a change at this because it's just not there anymore? Like, what has to actually happen? Do we have to suck terribly? Okay, that's not even by going 8-9 or 9-8 and just missing the playoffs, or getting bounced in the first round. To me, that's still basically a losing season. If you're not every year getting a little bit closer to the Super Bowl, then what are you doing? You're just spinning tires. And that's what we've been doing for years now, just spinning tires. And when you have those losses that look like all the other losses where we're not getting any better, and the reason those losses suck is because those are the ones we always look back to another month from now and we say, well, if we could have won that game or if we could have beat the Browns when they had a backup quarterback, those would be the games that would push the Steelers to the front of the pack that we just don't ever fucking have anymore. So, in the past 5 games, the past 6 times the Pittsburgh Steelers have been favored by 5.5 or more points. They're 1 win, 4 losses, and 1 tie.
Wow. Holy shit.
That
means that they shouldn't be a favorite against any team in the NFL.
And not by 5.5 points. Anytime we're big favorites, you could pretty much count on a Tomlin game incoming. So I don't know if that's just his arrogance where he takes his foot off of the throat during those weeks. But then you hear Faulkner come out and say that, oh, Tomlin, first thing this week, we refocused the guys. If you had to refocus them, where the fuck was their focus last week before a game that you should have won the football game
exactly.
for? I'm tired of the excuses that come after the fact. You shouldn't have to make excuses after the fact if you handle your business prior to the fact.
Yep.
Jerry, what's like realistically, if they do win this game on Thursday and then they go out and they beat the Bengals, is there any way you think that they can win a playoff game though? Genuinely.
No. I'm done. I got nothing left, dude. I'm all like, this game for me was, it doesn't look like it on paper or whatnot, the Cardinals game, but like, this was the game this year that was the most important up to this date. And here's why and it played out just like it should have. The Bengals are probably going to miss the playoffs. They ended up beating the Jaguars. Jaguars had another loss. The Chiefs dropped a game, which is huge.
Yeah.
Like, all these things are turning in their favor, and you just had a game that was so – what just happened? What
the hell, Jerry Don?
Yo! which is
What the hell, Jerry? They
what
might
was
be
that?
motion activated, maybe.
Jesus. Well, no, this was a game
That's
where
the lights
like
going out on our season. That's symbolic of the lights going out on our
yes,
season, Jerry.
yes, yeah, no, that's exactly true. Like if they won that game, they'd be 8-4, right?
Yeah. We'd be
8-4.
one game back of the one seed.
Yes, one game back of the one seat. You got a Patriots team coming into town. You're riding high. Patriots fucking suck ass. Like that. This other game is just as easy as the last game. Like they had a real chance to be fucking 9-4, looking down at a 1 or 2 seed, dude. Like now that shit is gone. Like you drop a game like that, you're cooked, bro.
You know what hurts about it is we came out and we looked good right out of the gates. Kenny is slinging it. He starts the game. He throws the deep ball to Pickens. They start the game off with some big run plays. I'm like, holy shit, finally. I really legitimately was like, wow. They turned the corner. This offense is legitimately turned the corner now, building off of that Bengals game the week prior. And then you see this happen. You march down the field. Kenny gets hurt, which we've discussed. He has injury issues. And I mean, the guy has legitimate injury issues at this point. It's something to pay attention to. But it's that when they get to the goal line, Kenny gets hurt. He leaves the game. This is why I still think that they are hurting themselves by having a defensive-minded head coach first, because there are not many offensive-minded head coaches that would have lined up in shotgun with a 265-pound bulldozing running back at the goal line and run it out of shotgun draw handoff. You line that motherfucker up under center. You let Najee build a gain of steam, get the football, and pound it right up their fucking throats for 3 feet and end the touchdown. They just don't play the game the right way. They make it way more difficult than it has to be.
Oh yeah.
You see stuff like that. Some of the play calling was still terrible on the 3rd and 4 on the second or third drive.
Yeah, that was crazy.
The Deontay Johnson screen behind the line of scrimmage. Like Insane. You're just not. This is a bad defense. Spread them out and slice them up, or spread them out.
They had backups all over the place too.
Dude, their defense is terrible. Like fucking terrible. The fact that we couldn't score points on Sunday is majorly concerning. Even when Kenny's in there and people are going to say, oh, Kenny played good up to that point. I mean, did he? He was 7 of 10 for 70 yards at the half. If we're calling that good, 7 of 10 for 70 at the half, we've really dropped the bar on what our expectations are for good quarterback play.
Yeah.
But that's nothing to write home about. Was he good enough? Yeah, I mean, to the half, I'd say sure, good enough. That's still not great quarterback play, especially like we say when you see what Jake Browning does last night for 3+.
Yeah, no.
Like that type of stuff is frustrating, but it's just there are other things that add to the madness for me. Deontay Johnson is another one of those things, Jerry.
Yeah, that guy's lost in the sauce, bro.
Read the room. Read the fucking room. You're down 3 touchdowns, and you have the balls to dance out there as if we just took the lead in a massive game. You look like a dickhead, bro, given everything that's happened. The argument with Minka, your crybaby shit last week in the Bengals game. And then you have the stones to fucking dance like that in the end zone. And did you hear Tomlin initially come out and say, oh, he didn't see it, he doesn't know what they're talking about?
Yeah, and then he doubled down and was like, I'll let him whatever.
Yeah, so basically it was Mark Caboli. Caboli asked him, he says, hey, coach, do you have any opinion on Deontay Johnson's dancing after the touchdown? He says, I don't know what you're referring to. And he says, well, he was dancing after the touchdown. Do you have an opinion on that? And he says, I do, but not for you guys. So A, you fucking lied initially by saying you know what we're talking about, and B, just nip it in the bud. Say it's a conversation I would like to have with Deontay Johnson off air. I don't care. Say anything. Don't fucking lie to us at this point, dickhead. Like we're fucking tired of it as a fan base. You talk down to us. I'm fucking tired of this shit, Jerry.
Yeah, no, it's really frustrating, dude. It's I like I said, I mean, I just really don't really care what happens the rest of the year, to be honest with you. I'm at the point where they make the playoffs, great. They don't make the playoffs, oh well. There's always next year. Who knows what would change? But I'm starting to get closer and closer and closer towards a like full-on complete rebuild.
I don't know how you're not there yet. I've been there. I've been there, and you hinted at it. You hinted at it earlier. If we have to go back to the quarterback wishing well after this season or after next season, TJ's prime is cooked at that point.
Oh, yeah, he's over.
Cam is done. Minka's encroaching on 30 at that point in the game. Like, you have a lot of money tied up in a lot of these guys on defense that you thought your window to win was right now. And if Kenny can't stay healthy or Kenny can't produce, one of those two things, both are likely. If you can't get both of those to go your way, it might be worth tearing it down and rebuilding it back up, because you can't keep doing this. I mean, this is just madness. Nothing's getting any better as far as this is concerned.
No, not at all. Well, we'll see what happens.
Another thing that I want to bring to our attention is Keanu Benton is very, very fucking good. Very good. His snap counts on Sunday, Jerry, he's easily our best defensive lineman. Cam has taken a step back. He just has. Father Time is undefeated. Always wins. He's taking a step back. Sunday's snap counts went Ogunjobi had 55 snaps, Cam had 49, Keanu Benton had 24, Armani Watts had 22. When you it's unacceptable, man. This shit is unacceptable. When you have guys that are as good as Keanu Benton, flashing as much as he is in his rookie year, and he's only getting half as many snaps as Cam, who's obviously losing a step, who could benefit from playing a few less snaps, and you're not making those changes. I brought this up to you some weeks ago. The Steelers used to, at the end of Bill Cowher's tenure, they would let guys go later in their career, even if you wanted to bring them back. Guy like Alan Faneca comes to mind. You know, won a Super Bowl, didn't re-sign him, and he was great. He was all pro coming off of that season. Didn't re-sign him. You know why? Because they know, as well as you and I do, the body breaks down, you eventually lose a step, and it's just better to thank you for your service and move on. I suggested it at the beginning of last season. I said, Cam's getting older. He's making 22 and a half a year. That's a lot of money for a man that it might not be very good moving forward. And then you see these types of things, and it's just like, okay, that's great because you have Keanu Benton in waiting in the wings. You should pump him in there, and you don't. And then you're seeing these same types of things come up where the defensive line has trouble getting off the field, getting beat up the middle. You have a guy on the sideline who could help you, and he's just not seeing the field. They're broken, man. They are broken, and they'll win, and we'll come back in, and they'll lose, and we'll be back to this point. But I think at our core, as fans, we all know that this team has really big issues, and a lot of those issues, no matter how you spin it, all tie back towards coaching. They all come 100%. Back to coaching, man. Mason Cole, Jerry, is a real problem.
How didn't he get benched?
Bro, he's a problem.
How didn't he get benched? I mean, after the second one, you got to say to yourself, dude, get the fuck out. Putting somebody else in.
You know what's wild? There were people tweeting me. Obviously, I don't get into the game early because I'm at the tailgate, and it takes me a while to pack it all up and get in there. But there were people that were tweeting me saying, we watched him in pregame, and out of the 6 snaps in practice that he had with Kenny, 3 of them hit the dirt before it even got to Kenny.
It's crazy.
I mean, this guy is not very fucking good. And so for him to be this bad, it cost us the touchdown at the goal line because, you know, he gets bullied, pushed back into Najee. Najee can't get into the end zone. Then the Cardinals go 99 yards and just stuff it down our throats. So that cost us points. Earlier in the game, it cost us points on, it's like a 3rd and 2 after one of our dumbass plays. They run a 3rd and 2, and Kenny gets blown up because the ball hits him in the feet. Like, center is got to be maybe our most needed position going into this offseason, if not middle linebacker.
I'd say center and middle linebacker for sure.
Without a doubt, man. You know, and so is it hard to also say that the offense sucks because of the quarterback play when you know that the offensive line is just not giving these guys any chance? Yes, because the offensive line has been underwhelming. But for me, it's hard to watch guys like Kevin Dotson go out there and ball when he was just with us, and he sucked when he was with us. He goes out to the Rams, and he's just a bad man.
He's the best guard in football.
It's coaching, man. What does that come back to? What does that tell you? Our scheme is not conducive for success for these players. I don't know how else you have to look at it before you admit that. Blow the fucking thing up and let's start over at this point.
Yeah.
Jerry, let's just get to the betting. What do you think about that? Let's just jump to the betting.
I'll take the Patriots.
So the line this week, the over-under is 30.5. The Steelers are -6.
I'll take the Patriots +6.
Jerry's taking Patriots +6. To recap, last week.
How are they -6?
Yeah, right. That's another one of these games I would say I'm not comfortable with it, especially Mitch Trubisky coming in here and playing. He's going to turn the ball over. That guy turns the ball over. It's just what he does. He turns the ball over. Mitch Trubisky's not good. And the fact that, he couldn't even come in there Sunday and put together anything even half decent for $8.5 million as a backup. This guy
which is crazy.
He's robbing people at this point for that money, man.
That price tag is insane.
Terrible. That's another. They mismanaged that. We said it. They should have just cut him and paid. Imagine if they just cut him and paid a fucking center. Imagine how much better life would have been there. But they had to keep him. You have to pay him $8.5 million fucking dollars, and thus here we are. We sucked it.
Yeah, for the competition. There never was a competition. They knew Kenny was the guy all along.
Without a doubt. And Mason, at this point, man, I'll be honest with you, Jerry, I would rather see Mason Rudolph play Thursday night.
Me too. 100%. 100%. A guy that's fucking kept his mouth shut for fucking 6 years now, hasn't said a fucking peep, is always a team guy, never in any fucking controversy, you never see him in the media. Like, dude, just fucking, if Mitch comes out there and stinks it up for the first half, just play Mason, dude. Just see what he has.
Have to lose at this point.
Yeah, there's nothing to lose. I mean, granted, Mason Rudolph is probably not a starting quarterback caliber player in the NFL, but at least give him a fucking chance, dude.
Right, and here's the thing. We say that Kenny's stats are terrible because keep it real. He's the worst starting quarterback in the history of football through 25 starts. That's what every number says. That's not me being a dick and turning my back on him again, guys. That's me being all the way real about it. Statistically speaking, he has been the worst starting quarterback in the history of football through 25 games. That's just facts. Now, when you compare Mason Rudolph's, I think 8 or 9 starts through that same thing, he's a better quarterback. So, we know what Mitch is. We've seen Mitch lose enough for us in the past year and a half. I would rather see Mason Rudolph, if nothing else. I just want to fucking know at this point.
Could you imagine what would the Steelers do? Let's just say this, like, what would they do? And I got to get going here, but what would they do, right, if Mitch has a bad first half?
Mm-hmm.
Mason comes in, wins the game for us. Next game wins. Next game after that beats the Colts. Is it Bengals then Colts?
And now it goes Colts then Bengals.
So what if he wins this game in the second half against the Patriots, beats the Colts, beats the Bengals? Kenny is not ready for Seattle yet. And then he somehow, some way beats Seattle. What? Do you go back to Kenny?
No, fuck no, you don't go back to Kenny. It depends how they're winning, too. If they're putting up some decent points and they're winning, I mean, no, you don't go back to them.
I'm actually interested to see if, like, I'm not rooting for Mitch to play bad. I just think he will play bad the first half. If they would switch and just put Rudolph in and he just starts just driving down the field, right, winning these games, that'd be interesting.
Oh, the Steelers Twitter would implode. It would fucking implode, man.
Yeah.
It would be hilarious to see. I won't even deny that. I bet you Mitch is on a short leash, though. I wouldn't be shocked 100%. If he's on a short leash.
100% has to be.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And so, Jerry, you're taking the Patriots plus the 6. Over under is 30.5. I am going to take the over. I'm going to take the over. It's just too low. 30.5 is just so low, man. That's fucking embarrassingly low. I am going to take the under.
I'll take the under too. For the parlay one, though.
Okay, so if that's the case, then I'll take the over 30.5, and I'll take the Steelers to cover 6. You'll take the.
All right, so we're complete opposite.
Yes, that's fair.
So let's just count these two towards our record then.
Yeah, that'll be exactly what it is. We'll just count two bets. It's 6-6. Jerry is 6-6. I am 6-6. These two could go a long way if the Steelers come through, or if they don't come through. One of us is going to take a commanding lead here.
Oh yeah,
Jerry. Anything else you want to add in? I know this episode was short. Like, there's just not. I just don't have the heart in me to sit here and bitch for fucking an hour. I'm just
I'm not gonna sit here and fucking bitch for a whole hour. It's just like, hey man, like the season is what it is. I mean, I'd rather be where the Patriots are right now than the Steelers. Like, I'd rather be in that, like, blowing it up, team sucks, they got 2 wins, and they're gonna go and draft somebody, and hopefully he's the guy. Like, The Steelers are in a bad spot, dude. They're in a worse spot than a lot of teams in the NFL because there is just question marks all over the place now.
Yep. And the shitty part is it's not as though we have direction. Like you say you'd rather be the Patriots. I probably would rather be the Patriots as well. You know why? They're going to get a high draft pick and that gives them some sort of direction. We don't have any direction right now.
No.
Okay, so say hypothetically real quick, I know you have to go, but say we go through this season, we do make the playoffs, we lose in the first round, Tomlin doesn't change. Are they going to bring in a legitimate offensive coordinator? Probably fucking not. Probably
I don't
not.
think so.
And so if you don't, then what are you really trying to say in the offseason? Kenny still our guy? Are you sure he's still our guy? And if that's the case, that's you looking someone like TJ Watt in the face and saying, look, we still think we can win right now, which what leads us to believe we still think we can win right now? There's not many indicators that would say that. So I just want a direction. If we're going to suck so that we can go through that transitional period of a full rebuild. If we're going to contend, really contend. But where we're stuck in the middle at is just it's grueling because it's one step forward, two steps back, and then we're one step forward right where we were.
Yep.
Jerry, shout out the boys at Zed's. They are the best in the business, Jerry Don. They do have the best vintage clothing. They just sent us care packages for Christmas. If you're looking for vintage memorabilia, hats, clothes, shirts, shoes, any vintage memorabilia, stop down at Zed's in the South Side. Let them know the Steel Here podcast sent you. We love those guys. They're the best in the game. Jerry, what do you want to end with?
Yeah, Zed's. I'm good on the merch. I'm done rocking the Steelers gear this year.
What if we rattle off the next three, Jerry?
Doesn't matter.
At what point are you buying back in? What point are you buying back in? What do you have to see?
I'd have to see them beat the Patriots. I'd have to see them win 3 in a row.
So it's going to have to be Patriots, Colts, Bengals.
They'd have to win 3 in a row, and I'm like, okay, I'm back. I'm back. I'm not going to be back in for 1 or 2 wins in a row. I'm not. I'm just not. I can't keep doing this to myself. I really can't. I'm just fucking. It's just grueling doing this process.
That's terrible. It's fucking terrible. It's the most depressed I've been, man. After last week, I was so optimistic, and then just the floor falls out again, dude.
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking brutal. Well, we appreciate you guys. We were going to have Trey Essex on this week, so I've been in communication with him. He's going to come on next week. Today ended up being his birthday. Today was the only day we could record since the game is on Thursday. We want to get the episode out soon. So we will have Trey Essex on next week, and if you guys have paid attention on Twitter, he's been pretty hot on suggesting that maybe Tomlin has some faults. So of all the ex-players, not many of them ever speak out against Mike Tomlin. We're going to have one on next week that actually does. So keep an eye out for that episode. We'll see you guys here next week.
All right. See you next week.
Later, Jer.
We're here. We're still here.
We are still here.